Welcome! So, today we're talking about
married life
versus.
not married life.
We are not like the authority on marriage, but we're fresh enough from being single to, I think, compare and contrast the two in interesting ways. So we've got a bunch of categories. So first we'll talk about the changes that we have experienced in our social life.
We were long distance when we were dating for a while. I wouldn't really be spending too much time with Josh. I'd be spending it with other friends or parents or family or whoever. Now we've moved, so in general those people have changed for sure. Honestly, even if we've got time, I want to spend some time with people, but being married, I'm just like, no, I want to spend time with my husband. That's why I married him. I want to spend time with him.
For me, it was a little bit different. Whether I was dating you or not, my social life was not a thing, really. My job requires that I work relatively long or stressful hours, and so when I'm done with work, or if it's a weekend or something, I don't want to go out really. I want to stay at home. I want to work on my movies. I want to draw. I want to paint. I want to write. Hanging out with people was like the last thing I wanted to do, which is one thing I was a little worried about being married, especially because long distance, we hadn't spent too much time in close proximity.
Right.
So if you find the right person, you're not going to feel like there's another person around, right? So when I'm with you and I'm doing my own thing on the computer or working on something, and you're around and we're communicating, I still don't feel like I'm hanging out with someone. I feel like I'm spending time with part of myself.
We are one.
Yeah, and my social life, as a result of marrying an extrovert, has greatly expanded in ways that I'm not happy about. For example, we went to a birthday party. Old me would have gotten the invite to the birthday party and said, "Oh, I'm so happy to be invited. I'll think about going." But in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're cool. No, not going. There's too many people. So there's a compromise, there's got to be a compromise in social life. And my compromise is I will try and go to the things that you're interested in having me there. If it makes it a better event for you to have me there, then I'll try and go. But the compromise on your side is that you might not be there as long as you would have been otherwise. So
as situations like that, I would have gotten there a little bit late, but not super late, and then stayed probably till a lot of people were starting to dwindle, so I should go too. So it wasn't like I normally wouldn't leave in the middle of the party.
Mm-hmm. I just wouldn't have shown up. That's the big change for me. It's been quite a shift.
I do think, at least social life related, he has to compromise a lot more than I do. Either I'm going out spending time with people, or I'm staying in spending time with persons. So I'm happy.
I think we're good there. So the next category we want to talk about, we're talking about the act of sleeping. Like actually sleeping. Like being asleep.
Right.
I was very surprised at the differences, for me at least. When I would go to bed as a single person, just myself and my pillows, I would create a nest around myself, persnickety to the max. Sharing the bed with another human, at first I would get all kinds of neck aches and back aches, and then we sort of found better positioning. So it's a much bigger physical change than I was expecting.
I get more sleep than I used to. We both are either working at our job or working on our own projects. We have no energy unless we sleep. So we feel like, at least I feel like suddenly we got married and we're like 40 because we're like, I need to go to bed at 9 or 9:30 so we can actually get a good amount of sleep because we both gotta wake up at 6. I kind of just slept whenever I wanted, didn't get much sleep because I was making up for it with a bunch of caffeine. So that's definitely a big positive change. Again, I'm getting the better end of the deal.
What are you gonna do when we have a kid? Because here's the thing, if the cat has an issue, I'll be the first one to wake up.
You're gonna have to physically push me out of bed so I fall onto the floor and go get the baby.
But I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that.
Because at least half the time it should be my turn. And if I'm just in a coma, unaware, or if you point out that I should get up and I just hit you or something, that's not okay.
You are very angry while you're asleep. You're communicative and angry, but not like in a bad way, in like an adorable toddler way.
So next category is chores / housework.
Well, it's very simple. When I was single, I wouldn't do them. And then I would reach a breaking point where my apartment would become intraversible. Then I would go into a cleaning frenzy and make everything spotless, and then probably cut my hair and shave as well, just so I would feel like everything in life was sorted and I am in control and an adult. And then I would just sort of lapse and let that pile up again. Now that I'm married, I try to stay more on top of things. We did make like sort of a chart. We would do what piece of housework on what day so we don't fall behind, and we followed that for a couple days.
I just always need to be cleaning and making it like that's my way of calming.
As a married person, it's both more difficult and easier in terms of housework.
Right.
It's more difficult because we're generating twice the amount of dishes, laundry, etc., whatever needs to be done. But then also we can sort of work together and be like, okay, well we gotta clean up a bit. So I'll start the laundry and you do the dishes, and then while the laundry is soaking in the bathtub, don't judge, that's how we do it, I'll start dinner. So we'll, there's the two of us, we're a team, we can make a plan, and it generally does go faster than it would by ourselves.
I think when it comes to thinking of a little plan on how to go about our days too, we tend to see eye to eye with a lot of it. So it goes pretty quickly, even just the planning aspect.
Yeah.
And we can get started. Family and holidays.
So this is fun. There's like an ideal way it's supposed to work and the way it actually works. When I was single, I was still not living where my family lives. My family lives in Ohio, and I have lived many, many places, none of which were Ohio, during my adult and mostly childhood life. But what would happen during holidays, I would fly back, spend the holidays with my family. Easy peasy, and then you fly back.
I never really migrated anywhere. I'm an only child. Josh is one of six. With that, my family was very focused on the extended relatives. Because we were a small unit,
we're not very close to our extended family because there are so many of us in our immediate family. So the holidays were very relaxing. It was just at this one location, and then all the people were there.
Mine was always jumping back and forth. We went to one Christmas, like my dad's side, and then we go to my mom's side, or we do the opposite. Especially for me, like being able to see the people that even remotely felt like sibling-ish was a big deal. So I was totally okay. I was all about hopping back and forth, and now we just hop to 3 places because we haven't really figured it out yet. And I think it's a lot of family isn't letting go, and me isn't letting go of the norm.
It is exhausting. We're gonna start a family at some point. They're gonna want some kind of tradition. They're gonna want some kind of family thing.
We don't want that to be, well, we hop around between 3 families.
Mm-hmm.
Because if that becomes the tradition, and then this mindset continues, our kids are gonna have kids, and they're gonna all be like, well, we hop around between like 7 families, so that's fun. No, I don't want to do that to us or them. We're just gonna...
Yeah. The next category, dates.
Yeah.
So when I was single, I didn't really go on dates.
Now I think it's more of, we have life. If we want to specifically be a little bit more romantic than just normal life of happily spending time together, we call it a date, even though it's basically the same thing as normal. It's just like, oh, we're done on a date now. I think the only time that'll actually really feel date-like is when we have kids, and we'll be like, okay, someone needs to take the children because we gotta go.
Yes.
We gotta get out.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah. Until then, it's kind of like, oh, it's a date.
Every day is a date. Yeah. Next is time management / hobbies. Which is funny because you're watching one of our hobbies. I have a lot of hobbies, and I call them hobbies, but they're things that I want to do for a full-time career eventually. It's just that no one's paying me to do them right now, so it's a hobby.
In time, hopefully.
Indeed. So as referenced when I was talking about my pre-married single life, this is where that comes in. I would go home every day after work and then keep working until I fell asleep on the things that I want to do. Like, I was writing a novel, I was recording an album with my brother, I was working on a movie, I was writing the next movie after this movie, I was working on my YouTube show. I've had to cut down that list immensely since being married because I have a social life now, thank you.
And we're still getting stuff done. It's not like it's just completely gone.
Yeah, I've cut it down by about 2/3 and just focused on the things that are the most important. What's great is that we have focused on those things together. They're mutual interests, and we can do them together, but we don't do the same things. We have different roles and different strengths so that our hobbies are still our own, but they're also shared, so we can still get a lot of things done. Like working a full-time job and having a YouTube channel that delivers weekly content and working on short films at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's just like...
Before we were married, I lived a very easy life because I only had a part-time job. So I had more time for social things and had more time to devote to those hobbies. Now I've gained a new hobby, and the sewing and painting, though they're few and far between, mainly just because work takes up a lot of time. Things have changed, but I think in a good way. Last topic, which is safety and security.
I spent a lot of time living alone before being married in another country or in a state far away from most people I knew. And so if, say, I got mugged or in a car accident or just something weird happened, my parents would figure it out eventually, but maybe it would take a month or two.
Because they've got their own things going
Yeah, because
on.
they've got their own things going, and they're not, like, we're not keeping tabs on a minute-by-minute basis. This woman always knows where I am, and if something should ever happen to me, I know for a fact she'll take the steps to try and help me out of whatever situation it is, and the same goes right back to her.
It's that you together have responsibility for one another.
Yeah.
And your goals are to try to keep each other safe and happy and accountable in some situations. So there's a lot more weight like on you, but in a good way, because you're working towards bettering another human being and bettering yourself at the same time.
Yeah. And then talking about security and safety in an emotional and spiritual level, I have never been closer to another human or better friends with another human than I have with this wonderful lady right here. And it's great to be completely vulnerable with someone on an emotional and spiritual level. You know me better than any person on the planet. Good, the bad. We're still learning these things about each other. And that's part of the magic of marriage. If you are in a relationship, the biggest way you can know if this person's gonna stand the test of time is if you can be completely emotionally vulnerable with them without fear of it ever being used against you in a way that is intended to hurt you, and they respond in kind.
I just have to agree. It's wonderful to feel that and not ever feel like it's gonna go away.
It's not like a Disney movie. It's not like we're gonna climb into a pumpkin carriage and then ride off into the sunset. And
That'd be cool.
it's hard work, but if you've found the right person, then you know they're worth it. So,
Thanks for listening.
yeah, do you have any thoughts? Are you single? Are you married? Give us a comment in the box with the comments that go there.
Watch our other videos. Give them a gander.
If you want, you don't have to.